Or no, I'm never certain if this video is starting or not. I need some certainty. Is this video starting? You know, certainty is a sense of conviction. It's a perception. It's not an objective reality. You know, I was very certain that in order for my life to be complete, I had to have the greatest entry level $500 watch you could buy for the money, the Seiko Sumo. And there was a lot about it that I loved, and I had it, then I sold it, then I bought a second one, sold it, bought a third one, sold it. The fourth time, I assured all of my watch community friends, this is it, man. I'm going to buy it. You would have to kill me to get this watch out of my hands, man. This is the Seiko Sumo, man. It's going to complete my life. And I sold it. I don't have a Seiko Sumo anymore. Certainty scares the hell out of me. I can think back to when I was 9 years old in the fourth grade. I punched my best friend, Steve Gessel, because I was certain that he had taken my bag lunch at lunchtime. You know, back in the day, we had these brown paper bags. And I looked at the wrinkles, little creases in that brown paper bag that he claimed was his lunch. And I said, that's mine. And I punched him, man. I punched him in the back, and it gave him a stomach ache. And he was crying. And I looked inside the bag, and ooh, that's not my lunch. Certainty gives a certain self-righteous indignation that just drugs your mind, makes you crazy. I'm very scared of certainty. You know, when I was 14 years old, I was very big for my age. I was working out. I was bench pressing close to 400 pounds. And I was certain that I was this bodybuilding prodigy who would become the next Arnold Schwarzenegger. And I would become a multi-Mr. Universe, and I would be selling protein supplements, and I would live in the Bahamas, and I would be drinking coconut milk out of a coconut shell. And there would probably be these goddesses, you know, fanning me with palm fronds. And I was certain I wouldn't have to go to college because I was just so special that way. Didn't work out, but I was certain for a while. When I was in college, I was very angry because I considered myself to be a handsome guy, but I didn't have a girlfriend, and that made me very angry, and I was certain that I needed to have a girlfriend. So when I was in my mid-20s, I finally got my first girlfriend, and I was actually angrier than before I didn't have a girlfriend. I didn't know that when you had a girlfriend, you had to talk on the phone all the time. I hate talking on the phone. I don't think I've talked to anyone on the phone in the last 20 years. So, gosh, I remember I would take her back to her apartment and say goodnight. And then I'd drive back home, and 15 minutes later, she'd call me to say goodnight. This is a nightmare. Didn't we already do this? Oh my God, I was so certain I wanted a girlfriend, and then immediately I was certain I didn't want to have a girlfriend. It was like having a full-time job, this phone conversation thing, and then I had to buy her presents, and they had to be like presents that were equal or better than the presents she got me. When she bought me presents, you could tell she put all this effort into it. It was something from the bottom of her heart, and then because my presents were never as good as hers, I was overcome with guilt. And that was like a full-time job. I had to get out of the relationship. I was certain I had to break up with her, so I broke up with her. But then 2 weeks later, I was certain I wanted her back. But by then, she was certain that she didn't want me back in her life. I think she made a good decision there. She shouldn't have taken me back. So when I was out of college, I was certain that the only way I could validate my existence, the only way I could find creative fulfillment, was to become a novelist. So for about 12, 15 years, I wasted over a decade writing these really horrible novels. I mean, they had promising premises, but they were really just 5-minute Saturday Night Live skits, you know, short stories that I padded with dreams and flashbacks. One novel called Herculage was this futuristic city where everyone had to be perfectly built. You could get a ticket for having a cellulite violation. You know, it was a good one-note joke, but hardly a novel. So I wasted a lot of my life under certainty. When I was in my early 30s, I was certain I had to get married to be mature. So I got married, and instead of rising to the level of maturity that marriage requires, I tried to lower the bar of marriage to meet my immaturity. But I was convinced that somehow I would make it work. And I remember I was pumping gas one time. I was by myself. I had been married for about a year. And a former student sees me. She's pumping gas, and she says, "McMahon, is that you?" And I go, "Yeah, it's me." "I heard you got married. Are you kidding me? You got married?" And I go, "Yeah, I got married." And she says to me, "You can't be married. You're just this big man child. I mean, I don't mean any offense. You're this likable, funny, smart guy, but you can't be married. You're too immature. And your personality, it's way too strong. And you're antisocial. You don't even like people. You are just not a good match for marriage. I don't believe you're married." And I'm just pumping gas, and I'm thinking, oh my God. 6 months later, I got a divorce. So she was onto something. One time in the 1990s, late 1990s, I was behind a woman on Ocean Boulevard in Torrance, and she just stops her car. And honking my horn, and I'm screaming expletives at her. I'm certain she's an idiot driver. And then a couple seconds later, I hear the siren of a fire truck coming down. She was being the legal, safe, correct driver, and I was an idiot. And I remember I waved hosannas at her to apologize. I don't think she was mollified by my attempt at apologizing to her. That was very embarrassing. A couple years ago, I had a student. He weighed about 500 pounds. I really liked him a lot. He was very bright. He always said great things in class. But a couple weeks into the semester, I noticed that I could hear his strained breathing before he even got into the class, and I took him aside and I said, "I would love to teach you the principles of composition, thesis, and everything, but I need you to go to a doctor and get checked out. I don't have a good feeling about your situation." He goes, "Oh, don't worry about it. I've been to the doctor. They took my blood pressure, my cholesterol. I'm fine." And a week later, I got an email from his wife. He died, and she didn't give me the nature of his passing away. My guess is he died of a heart attack, and he was so certain that he was okay. You know, certainty scares the hell out of me. I saw this Greek actor. He's this Greek-Canadian actor. He was on a show called Silicon Valley, and I saw him play the same role in a show that I watch on Showtime called Episodes. And he had on this 46 millimeter Omega Planet Ocean chronograph, caliber 9300, and I saw it, and it was like this epiphany. And I was certain I needed to have that watch. But it rendered all the other watches in my collection worthless. And until I got that watch, I would just be worthless. Well, I was certain of it, but I ended up making a video about it, and because I'm scared of certainty. Certainty scares the hell out of me. That's one thing I can be certain about. So I'm not certain what my next video essay will be about, but I do know that certainty is something you should be very uncertain about. And until I come up with my next video, I am out.